B'siyata d'Yishmaya, we're going to be learning and continuing our learning in Korva Nafshi. This amazing book by the tzaddik Rav Tzvi Kluger. We are in the inner world of the Jew, right? We've been learning this for a while. We're in like the 5th chapter, I think. 4th. We're in the 4th out of 7 chapters in this section of the book. And we've been discussing how this process of the ups and downs of the inner peace, right? And we're at a point where the last time we left off, where the body was saying, wow, this godliness is so cool. Why did you never tell me about this? Why did you never let me taste this? Why didn't you let me know that there was a higher level of living life? There was breathing sessions, there was walking in nature, there was making prayer an art and not an obligation. Why didn't you let me know all of these things exist? And the brain wants to start making this peace again between the soul and the body. And today we're going to be focusing on a little bit of that, of how the brain starts to bring the light deeper down and help make this connection, this bridge and this peace between soul, mind, and body. Be'ezrat Hashem, the shiur will be for the Atzlacha of David ben Susan. Be'ezrat Hashem, may have a lot of success in everything that he's doing, and a lot of clarity, Be'ezrat Hashem. And all of our soldiers that definitely need siyata d'ishmaya with the way things are going. May they have all the protection that they need to do the job that they need to do, which is the same job we're doing here, removing evil from the world. Every one of us, when we get a little bit closer to removing these blockages and these bad stories and these twisted ways of thinking that we have inside of us, we're killing a few terrorists on the way as well, just like our brothers down there. So B'ezrat Hashem, we're in this war together. We're on the battlefield, just like they're on the battlefield. And don't get upset, people. I've been on both. Always get the comments. B'ezrat Hashem. Tov, let's get in. Rav Kluger says like this, Ava Navin, let's understand, right? Again, we're talking about the mind now helping to make the peace between the two. Let's understand. The sikhli, the mind, is going to start talking very clearly to try to understand and explain what's going on here inside. And it starts to use this new vocabulary from this new way of speaking. Right? The brain used to speak in a way of like, come on, you're dirty and you're not deserving and you've sinned and how could you connect to a neshama? And now it's realizing that's not the way to do it. Our job is to make peace here, so I have to speak in a way of more diplomacy or, trying to make this happen. And it says, from the words of the mind, you wouldn't know if it's talking to the neshama or it's talking to the body. What does the mind say? In every idea and everything you're talking about in this world, there's an inner light and there's an or makif. There's a surrounding, encompassing light from the outside. Principle in Kabbalah. The choicer, higher, more valuable, more quality light is the or hamakif, the light that surrounds from the outside. Zach yoter, it's more pure. Acheno miyushav, but it's not settled. It's a light without vessels. It's a very, very powerful light, but it doesn't have a way to be settled, to be used in this world. המקבל ניצב רחוק ממנו, מקיף, כשמו, סביב סביב, ואינו נקלט ומתיישב. You, when you look at your makif, again, I'll just maybe explain this a little bit outward. We all have in ourselves, and the world has, and everything in the world has, an inner light, meaning an inner understanding, an inner level of God consciousness, and what's called a makif, a surrounding, greater, so to say, cloud of consciousness that surrounds them, that they pull from. Their inner light feeds off of the things that are around them, that are above them, but it's still out there. It's not internalized yet, right? For example, we all have what we know, right? And what we've internalized in the level that we're at. And then we have a rabbi. We have a relationship with that rabbi. We receive from that rabbi, but he's much higher level than me. So he's Makif. He surrounds me, he encompasses me. He's on a higher level. It's like a chuppah, it's like a canopy over you, right? Our clothing is the Makif for our body, and our clothing represents also this light of the Makif. It says, it's so to say, we dress in the way we aspire to be seen, we aspire to feel as well, right? And it surrounds and covers up, but it's not settled. You can't tell what a person is completely by their clothing. But the clothing does say a lot. Where are they aspiring to be? Where are they trying to go? And our whole entire life is just a process of internalizing the Makif and getting a new Makif. The Makif becomes Pnimi, right? And Rav Nachman explains that every single soul is one on top of the other. There's no two souls that are side by side. Every single soul is stacked. And when you internalize a Makif and it becomes a Pnimi and you ascend, so then your Pnimi becomes the Makif for the person underneath you. And the person that was above you, his Pnimi is your Makif that you internalized. And that's just the whole entire process of life. Everything in life, we're going through that process. Okay? So now the brain is starting to explain this process. It's talking. You don't know who it's talking to. Is it talking to the Makif, meaning the Neshama? Is it talking to the Pnimi, the body? Who is it talking to? And he says that this Makif, it's called a Saviv Makif. It's encompassing, it surrounds, it's out there, like it's called. It's called a Makif, it's out there. It's not absorbed, it's not settled, it's not internalized. L'umato ha'pnimi, af ki nechshav yoter namuch ma'makif. The Pnimi, the inner light, the things that I've internalized, that I understand, even though it's on a lower level than this Makif, it has a different light, a light of comprehension, a light of settlement, a light of understanding. Murgeshet ve'efshar le'enot le'ora. It can be felt tangibly, and you're able to enjoy that light, right? I know that putting on tefillin feels good. I don't know everything about tefillin, but I know that level of it. So I put it on, I get it, I can feel it. I know that this is the right thing I'm doing. There's a many makifim in tefillin, like everything else in life. But whatever I have internalized, so it's good, I can even enjoy it. Kabir horo shel gaon adir le'orer et koach haTorah b'nafsho shel yeled. This power of a master, right? To arouse this genius, to arouse inside the power of the Torah, inside the nefesh of a child. Ach b'ofen makif beyoter. But how could he ever do it? Take the biggest rabbi in the world. How could he arouse a kid from the inside to want to give him the power of the Torah? Only ever on the level of a makif. Doesn't matter how big of a rabbi you are. You're so big, the child is so simple, anything you say is going to be a makif. God can help it internalize, it can hit him so deep that the makif stays attached to him, but the difference between the two here is that big that it's always going to be a makif. מן הכוח הפנימי שיעניק לו מלמד דרדקי המשכילו כפי ערכו יקבל הילד כלי חיים שלא יוכל להסתדר בחייו בלעדיהם. According to how that makif is given over to the child, these will be tools that throughout life he won't be able to cope without them. If it's done in the right way, you give them, right, as the child is growing, you start to feed them these makifim, these ideas, these concepts that you place in front of them. They become tools and vessels throughout life that the kid would never be successful without those principles. Did a child understand really money when he was a child? No, but if you taught him about it a little bit, just as a makif, just to introduce the idea, so there would be a relationship of awareness of it. Later on, it develops much more, and it's much more helpful. Any makif that's positive that you introduce to a child will become a vessel for them later. Now, when a person grows up, or now that this makif became more pnimi and you're able to understand it, you'll be able to receive from the light, the presence, the wisdom of that teacher that gave it to you. Right? It's simple. We all taught things as children that they were very lofty ideas for our level then, and with time, because we were taught them then, because the gate was open at a certain time, later we understood them. Right? For example, my dad used to always make me say, yes sir, no sir, to my dad. I didn't say dad, I could say dad and things like that, but if you ask me a question, yes sir. I hated it. when I got to 18, 19, 20 years old, I realized what he was doing. I realized how important it was that I had to go through that. How important. Made all of the difference when I saw the other 20-year-olds around me and how they spoke to adults and people that deserved respect, just because of their age, just because of who they were, and how I did. It was clear as day, and I knew where it came from. Right? That was a makif for me at 12, 13, 14, 15 years old. Why do I have to call you sir? It was too far out. Once it internalized, it became one of the most valuable vessels I have in my life, is that level of respect that my dad gave me. The lights of the neshama, the mind starts to explain we're too much of a makif for the body. You're too far out there, the neshama. The light was there. It aroused passion and light and excitement here and there, but it never was absorbed. It was always far out. It was always some crazy, trippy experience. It was never able to be brought down. בערם הדיבורים החדשים שהנה מתחדשים עלינו באופן של שכלים קדושים, הינם בגדר פנימי בליבו, ועל כן יש בהם כדי להועיל לו ולכולנו. Since the words that the brain is starting to say now, this whole explanation of or and makif and pnimi, they're coming from the heart and they're on the level of pnimi, they're understood. So now everybody can benefit from them. Meaning the mind has come to a level where it's understanding what's going on. Okay, there's a makif and a neshama, there's a body that's the pnimi, and there's too much distance between them. The makif is too much of a makif for this pnimi. We need a, and since this is all making sense and it's not a far out there idea, everything in life has a light inside, a light around it, we can understand that about life. So now these words are starting to build the bridge that they were set in order to build. כל אור גבוה ורחוק מעודן ומרתיח את החושים לטוב. Any light that's lofty, that's high and very far out there, so then it brings down a sense of joy, a sense of passion, of heat for good. כי יש בהם השתוקקות לזוך ולברך תואר. Because there's this yearning for purity, for good, for lofty ideas. We all yearn. Our aspirations are always towards our makif, right? And that's why it's so important who you surround yourself with. Because you're going to start to have the aspirations of those you hang out with. Those are your surroundings, so their surroundings become your surroundings. And when you surround yourself with people that have lofty aspirations, so then your surroundings become their surroundings. And theirs become yours. And now you all are really starting to go towards the right place. So everything has this yearning towards purity. But since we lost the relationship with the soul, so then all of those senses were left empty. I do aspire to be good. I do want to be pure. Everybody does deep down. But if they don't know how, and if they don't have a relationship with their neshama and with purity and with things that are actually teaching you how to be that, so then you have all of that, but it gets put into this world things. And it gets put into low-level things that will never, ever, ever fill up that vessel, that yearning of that a person has. All you can do is wait and anticipate for another sunrise, another opportunity of a different light that could come. Why do you need it? Why is it a different light? Why does a different light have to come? Because there's not enough in the previous light to bring me my satiation. It hasn't been doing it for me, so I seek out something else. אילו היה בו משהו מן הפנימי המתיישב על הלב, הופך היה להיות חלק בלתי נפרד מן החיים, להגביהם, להשאיר בהם ערך מהות פנימית ואמיתית. If there was something of the Pnimi that could be settled in the heart, if I could bring something down, it could make the transition and the transformation I need for the rest of my life. To enrich in my life, to make my life better, to elevate my life without any measure, on a true internal way. But since it was only this encompassing idea, it was this external, far out idea, it was like, wow, It got me really excited. I was blown away. And they were perfect. It felt really good for its moment that it lasted. Afterwards, the effect went away. The high went away, even from the spiritual thing. Since the tzadikim, the Baalei Shem, meaning the people that know the name of Hashem, that are able to bring it down bring to a level of healing into Am Yisrael, Yesodei Olam, the foundations of the world, they saw that the holy souls, they are the holy souls, this all-encompassing souls, ki notar chiyuni begaluto, that the body is left in its galut. The body has been in exile for a long time. Nitna lehem reshut legalot me'or ganuz la'anik nitzotzot shel geula. The rabbis of the generations realized the body is in galut. The body is disconnected. It's in exile. They gave permission to start to release from the or ganuz, from the hidden light from creation, 36 hours that got hidden inside the Torah, got hidden inside the Yanuka lights, got hidden for the tzadikim in the future to come. They started to release, to trickle out from those lights, and to give these little sparks of geula down. But the time for this full revelation to come hasn't come yet. To really, really release, what he's saying is that there's the tzadikim are seeing that there's these deep, deep, deep lights that have the potential to be revealed in the material world. And they start to let it trickle out. Meaning, look how the Chassidim act. That the Chassidim can get together and do a farbrengen, and have a table, have nice food, a little bit of a l'chaim, some drinking, and make it holy. 500, 800 years ago, 1,000 years ago, get a bunch of 10, 20, 30 holy men to sit together, sing songs, and drink and eat. You are not getting a group of tzadikim to do that. Just on a regular Tuesday, Wednesday night, no way that was happening amongst the elites of Am Yisrael. Because the body was in galut. We pushed down the body. Came the tzadikim, the Baal Shem Tov and his students, and they start to see, no, the body needs this. The body's been in galut too much. Let's trickle down lights. So we gather together, we eat, and we make a l'chaim, but it's all holy. We're doing it in a holy way. You have to maintain the holiness too. It doesn't mean that you can now have frat parties. Everything has to be in a sense of holiness. But that's a new behavior that wasn't before. That wasn't before.
So you actually didn't do that with this?
It wasn't the way. Everyone before, if you look at the tzadikim before the Baal Shem Tov, the way was prishut for the main part. The way was to be separate, to push down the material. Not necessarily the way because it's cursed like the Christians say, just because I'm focusing on one world and not the other. The Baal Shem Tov was the one that started to fuse the worlds together and take from this lofty life of creation and to reveal it in physicality. That you can go to work and your hands are busy working, but your mind is left free in godliness. And you can think about Torah and be in tefillah, you can be praying and doing yichudim the whole entire time you're working, and your hands are busy working. That's the fusion that we needed, and we're all seeking. So that's what he's talking about here. Through generations, we saw that the body was in exile. Came the tzadikim and started to trickle from this light of the loftiest light that we know of into the physicality. But it hasn't come for the time for this to be fully revealed yet. As it will be speedily in our days, amen. Because that's what we're all waiting for. When Mashiach comes, then there's going to be the full revelation of how the physicality, right? Ani v'rochev el chamo. He's poor riding on a donkey. Right? He comes in the white Hummer. But he's poor and riding on a donkey. What does that mean? The Mashiach's riding on a donkey. Poor. Poverty means I don't need anything. I'm not tied down to anything. I don't have anything holding me back. And riding on the chamor, riding on a donkey, chamor is physicality. And the Mashiach is riding on he masters the physicality, meaning I'm going to take this physical world to what I need it to be. To serve God, right? He's going to show you how to ride on top of the physicality, not to be consumed, not that the physicality runs over you, like most of us in the world have a strong influence, especially of the materialism that we all in the country that we grew up in, right? We all have this influence, but Mashiach's going to come and show us how to ride on top of the material. How to be the leader of the material, the one who directs where the material goes. Dor achar dor, generation after generation, this revelation is growing and intensifying. La'asot et oro shel Hashem yitbarach lemitziut pnimit, to make the light of Hashem into an inner reality. sheyesh ba kedei chaim, that has inside of it enough to give me life, to give me vitality. Lo rak mekefet or merechefet. It's not just to encompass, to surround me and to hover above. No, to get inside my guts. Hashem gave to the tzadikim the powers of kedusha, of sanctity, to influence the world. To give in new life into the souls of the body and the mind. That in their own eyes, the body and the mind saw themselves as dry bones. What am I doing here? What's the purpose here? What is going on? There's dry bones that said, we lost all hope. There's a gzera, there's been a decree on us, that's it. We're doomed. The body and the mind, put it down, just neshama, just soul all day long, just soul all day long. That's it, we're done for. They said in their hearts, the will of the neshama will never be able to satiate that, will never be able to. A neshama wants and knows of such levels of godliness. How could a human mind and body ever suffice? So they know that. The mind and the body are closer to their own will than the will of the soul. Manaseh, what are we going to do? That's just how it is. To do the will of Hashem with a drive and with emotion and passion, who's to say we're ever going to merit to do that? Who knows if it's ever going to be able done from the heart with emotion? Who knows if we're going to get to the level where we serve Hashem like that? The neshama is there like it has this little room inside the building, and from there it just throws out little sparks of light down that they're nice, they feel good. מפעם לפעם בהתעורר עלינו מקיף לעיר, נעורים לתחילה כוחות רדומים ושאיפות גנוזות בקרבנו. אך נעלמות אם יחלפו. Sometimes there's this arousal, there's this new light that comes in, and you get this power of resurrection, you get revived. And in the beginning it's like, yeah, I'm here, I'm up, I want to do it. But my aspirations have been asleep as well. I don't even have goals. I don't even have what to aspire towards. We have so much that's hidden deep inside, that it's so deep inside that even if there is an experience that opens up a little bit and shows up some hope, we don't even know how to connect that to where we should be aspiring towards, because the aspirations are so covered up. They're in a state of despair. That they're almost like extinguished. I'm sure there's something inside there, stuck between the neshama and between us, the brain and the mind. There's some connection, there's some aspirations there, and God willing, Be'ezat Hashem, that they'll be revealed, and there will be a revelation of rachamim, of mercy on us. But since the time has come, קראו בעולם את השם ישראל. They call that in the name in the world, Israel. כמעוררים את הישן ואומרים לו, like when you go to wake up a sleeping person and you say to him, מה לך נרדם, אשר בך יתפאר. We have a principle that we learn, that if a person's sleeping and you try to wake them up, it's not so easy. But if you say their name, even if they're in a deep sleep, you'll start, it's like knocking on the door. Like, you say the person's name, it hits them. Yechezkel. Look at that, see? I was just speaking for a long time. Same amount of words, same tone, right? What happened? Boom. There you go. Thank you. You can go back. So, sorry for that. It's just a perfect example, right? So that's the power. Why? What happens? When you get that calling, it's coming to arouse you and to tell you, Israel, we have a pasuk that are on the front of every single book of Rav Kluger. This is essentially the logo of his Beit Midrash, right? And what does it say? Israel, Asher Becha Etpa'ar. Israel is by way of you that I will be glorified in this world. So when you hear that calling in the world of Israel, Yechezkel, Penuel, whoever it is, this calling, but the calling is Israel, because we're all Nishmat Israel, we're all the souls of Israel. What are they coming to tell you? Malecha nirdam, why are you sleeping? Asher b'chait ba'aretz, by way of you that I need to be glorified in the world. Na'asa or Hashem yitbarach yoter pnimi u'mechayeh, the light of God has become more internalized, more revitalizing. Litmazeg toch ha'chaim, to be infused inside of your life. K'mayim bekirbam u'keshemen ba'atzmotam. It's like water in your midst, right? Like oil by itself, like it's coming to do what it needs to do. Me'az ve'elach niftechu sha'arim ve'nityasdu eichalot. Since then, since this conversation, the gates have been opened, the chambers have been fundamentally placed. Nichtavu dapim le'revavot. Thousands of pages were written. V'nitabru el chalal ha'olam ma'amarei tchiyah ve'or. Since that moment where this light has been brought down into the body more, from the times of Baal Shem Tov, there's in thousands of pages. There's essays and ma'amarim and Torah and books all talking about how this la'ir chaim u'melech olam, to illuminate the life of the king of the whole entire world. Zoche Yehudi lekabel legima mimayanot mafchim elu v'nasim lo asechli v'chiruni kivriot chadashot. If you taste a little bit of the world of Chassidut, a little bit of this light that unifies both worlds, right? What happens? Your mind and your body become like as if they're born again creatures, as if they're recreated, and now they get a new life. Because all of a sudden, right, you're telling me, how can I get inside my body these deep, deep, deep lights? You're telling me that by way of breathing, I can experience Dveikut? Without having to afflict myself, just by breathing, I can get to a level of high levels of prophecy? Why am I saying high levels? Even Ruach HaKodesh, 1/60th of prophecy. Do you know what 1/60th of prophecy is? Might as well be prophecy. So yes, by breathing, nothing else. These were hidden from Am Yisrael. It was left for the elites, and it was even hidden inside their own Torahs, that their own students could skip over this. Now it's coming out everywhere. Your body will start to feel revitalized. You'll want to go to class. You'll want to go pray when you start to tell your body how it's good for your body to do these holy things, how to make this light that seems like an obligation. I have to wake up to pray. It's out there. It's someone there telling me. And instead of that, you internalize it and you show up to pray with all your might, because you know it's good. To start a little bit to understand the inner world of a neshama, which is the crown and the essence of the mind and the body. They're there in order to be crowned by the neshama, meaning the neshama sits on top of them, right? Like a makif, like this light that I aspire to, that I want to be like, that I'm yearning to get towards, and I'm trying to internalize. That's the neshama to the mind and the body. The mind and the body are there to receive from the neshama and to become closer to its will and its ideas, and to internalize those lights more and more and more. And we have to get to a level where we're doing this more and more and more and more. And when we do that with the right way, with the right conversation, you see what changed here. It's just how the brain was talking. Start to break down an idea. Everything in life has an inner light and an outer light, and they get internalized, and that's the process of life. And you know who our light, our aspiring makif is? It's our neshama. Let's start to, and the same words went out without any direction. Like we said in the beginning, you don't know who he's talking to. You don't know who the brain is talking to. Because that conversation makes sense to the neshama as well. Because it's also a Pnimi, and God is the Makif. It also knows that everything in life, spiritual and physical, has the same reality. So now you say something like that, that's coming from the heart, it's internalized, it makes sense, it works. But when you want to talk deep, deep Torahs of Kabbalah and how the light of the world comes down, and what's it doing for me? What's it doing for me? Not to put it down, God forbid. I love it, I learn it, but we also need these conversations on the level of the mind talking to bridge between the soul and the body. Speaking and translating, like Reb Nachman says in Torah 22, right? Translating soul experiences to the body, so that there is a bridge, there is a relationship. The more we do that, we get to higher levels of inner peace. B'ezrat Hashem. That is the goal. That is the goal. We're going to stop here for now. We have a short piece that we can do next time. And then we're going to go into more depth. Chevra, I'm going to repeat, I'm going to tell you, in the past we've learned very nice fluffy Torahs that make us feel good. They're deep, they're practical, and we love them as well. This book is going to hurt. This is the book that, like, if you're going to learn anything but it's going to hurt in an amazing way. I'll tell you how it's going to hurt. Rav Kluger says in the verse we say every morning, El nekamot Hashem, El nekamot Ofia. God of a vengeance shall appear. Something like that. I don't know the exact English. That's the Hebrew. El nekamot Hashem, God of vengeance is Hashem. El nekamot Ofia. A God of vengeance shall appear. What is the biggest level of rebuke, of revenge, that you could ever get from God? Rav Kluger says that he shows up, that he's Mofia. You don't need to get punished and burnt and go through all this different suffering. It should be enough of a slap in the face, of an awakening that we disrespect God and we use His power to do the wrong things all day long, and He still shows up to give us everything we need. That should give us the highest level of revenge, rebuke from God. He doesn't need to punish us. It's infinite love. And when you keep disrespecting and going against the will of the creator of the whole entire world that cares for you so much and shows up all the time, you don't need more rebuke than that. That's the same thing here in this book. The words are so true. It hits places that are so deep, and it tells a story that is so essential that we've all been living. But when you hear it like this, when it's presented to you in a sefer and it's coming down, clarified, to help you open up your eyes, it hurts, right? But what does it mean it hurts? Okay, now I gotta do this. I can't. I've been exposed to the truth. I have to start to try to bring it down. I have to work on this. And that working on it is where it starts to hurt a little bit, right? Downloading this, because we're not here to just hear our nice ideas and let it stay in our head. If we're ever learning Torah, it should be to bring it down to our toes, down to our feet, to our actions, to our everyday. And that part hurts. That part is not easy. Especially in a book like this, where we're not talking about how do I do this mitzvah the right way? What do I think while putting on my tefillin? Very good. Those are all lofty things that need to be learned and internalized and spent a lot of time on. How do I talk to my wife? How do I respond to people when I'm disrespected? How do I heal myself internally? Not easy things to do. And that's what the essence of this book is. Forget the rest of the world. Forget all of your mitzvot. Be a human being. A human being has a soul, a mind, and a heart. And they are 90% of the time out of alignment. Make alignment there. If you focus on that, you'll realize how hard it is. And I give everybody a bracha that we'll be successful in doing it more and more, little by little, every single day. Every step in the right direction is a huge, huge, huge thing. Like we know, right? If anybody knows ballistics, or if you know space travel, right? 1 millimeter down here could be a light year up there, right? So it's the same thing. Our souls from a much loftier place above time and space. One movement in the right direction down here could have us flying up there into the right chambers, hanging out with the right people, surrounding ourselves by the right people, and downloading new lights to become internalized so we become better people. B'ezrat Hashem.